In the quiet of the master bedroom, an empty space on the dresser spoke louder than any accusation.
The watch, it was gone. Richard's tag Hoyer, the one he never took off, not even in the hospital.
She walked down the hallway to where Rachel sat on the couch, thumbing through her phone.
Rachel, have you seen Dad's watch? It's missing from the dresser.
It must have gotten lost when we moved his things to the smaller bedroom.
Barbara's jaw tightened. The dresser hadn't been moved yet. She had moved it herself the week before.
Maybe you put it in a drawer and forgot. Grief can make you absent-minded, Mom.
I would never forget where his watch was. He made me promise to keep it safe.
But Barbara said nothing. She simply turned and walked back to the bedroom. The empty spot on the dresser seemed to have grown, swallowing the light in the room. Barbara opened the dresser drawer. Beneath a folded handkerchief, she found the watch's appraisal receipt, yellowed but intact. At the bottom, in Richard's shaky script, was written, "For Barbara, always know where it is. Love, R."
Always know where it is. The words cut through the grief. He had told her, months ago, something she'd nearly forgotten.
She remembered the afternoon he returned from Harold's workshop, his eyes bright with a secret he couldn't keep.
Barbara, Harold put a tiny tracker in the tag Hoyer. If anything ever happens, this watch will find its way back.
She recalled Harold, a retired watchmaker, carefully embedding the chip into the case back.
I just need to know it's safe. Promise me you won't forget, no matter what.
At the time, she nodded, patting his hand, as if it were a child's unreasonable request.
But now, the old fear from his eyes made terrible sense. The tracker was no paranoid fantasy. It was a final safeguard for a man who knew he was leaving too soon.
Her hand tightened on the receipt. The tracker. It was still in there. She could track it. She could find exactly where her daughter had taken it.
She retrieved the tablet from the nightstand drawer and opened the tracking app Harold had installed. The map zoomed in on Comfort Suites, a budget motel off Route 9 she had driven past 100 times.
The Comfort Suites. She hasn't mentioned going anywhere. Something is very wrong.
She tapped the history log, and the screen filled with past locations, a pattern she could not deny. The watch had been at that motel for the last 4 nights, arriving after dark and not moving until morning.
4 nights. She's been meeting someone. And she lied about losing the watch right to my face.
The grief that had softened her features since the funeral now hardened into something sharp and unyielding.
No more waiting. I am going to that motel right now and finding out what my daughter is hiding.
She set the tablet down and walked out of the bedroom, every step quick and deliberate. In the hallway, she grabbed her purse and the car keys from the hook, the image of the empty dresser still burning in her mind. She slid into the driver's seat, placed the framed photo of Richard on the passenger seat beside the appraisal receipt.
He looked so frail in that picture, but his eyes still held that quiet certainty.
As she turned the ignition, her hand brushed the photo's edge. She recalled the last time he spoke of the watch.
If anything ever happens, this watch will find its way back.
She also brought the appraisal receipt, the proof of what the watch meant to him.
He made sure I could always track it, like he's still looking out for us.
The car hummed onto the highway, and soon the sign for Route 9 appeared.
Once I pull into that motel, there's no turning back. But I can't pretend any longer.
Her knuckles whitened on the wheel as the motel came into distant view. She slowed the car, the weight of what she was about to do pressing down on her chest. Barbara turned into the Comfort Suites parking lot, her tires crunching over loose gravel. She scanned the row of cars and stopped breathing for a second. Rachel's sedan sat near the far end.
That's her car. She's here. No more excuses.
Barbara parked, turned off the engine, and sat still for a long moment, her hands resting on the photo.
Richard, give me strength.
She tucked the photo and receipt into her purse, stepped out, and walked toward the room number from the app, Room 12. The brass number gleamed faintly in the overcast light.
This is where my daughter has been coming. Every night.
She raised her hand and knocked, 3 firm, deliberate strikes. The sound echoed in the quiet hallway, and Barbara did not move. The door opened 6 inches. Rachel peered through the gap, wrapped in a man's plaid robe that Barbara knew too well.
Mom? What? How did you even?
Before Rachel could finish, Barbara's gaze dropped to the wrist peeking from the robe sleeve. The watch.
Give it to me.
It's not what you think. I can explain. It was just I was going to bring it back.
Barbara's hand remained outstretched, palm up, every line on her face unforgiving.
You don't understand, Mom. I needed it. For something.
The only thing I need to understand is that you are wearing your dead father's watch in a motel room.
Rachel's mouth opened, then closed. The lie she had ready died on her tongue. Barbara did not move. Her stillness was a question that demanded an answer neither of them wanted to hear. Through the thin curtain, a man's silhouette shifted behind Rachel. Then his voice, slow and thick. Tom stepped out from the shadows of the room, shirtless, and when his eyes met Barbara's, he froze like a cornered animal.
Tom, Mark's business partner. The double betrayal struck like a physical blow. The watch. Now.
Rachel fumbled with the clasp, her fingers shaking, and slid the watch off her wrist. She dropped it into her mother's outstretched palm, the metal clicking against Barbara's wedding ring. Barbara's fingers closed around the watch. She turned and walked away without a word.
Mom, please, don't leave like this.
Barbara did not look back. She walked toward the parking lot, the watch pressed against her chest. Only the sound of her footsteps broke the silence, each step a verdict. She reached her car and sat heavily, the watch still clutched in her fist. Through the windshield, the motel room door clicked shut. Rachel had returned to him.
Tom. The man who was supposed to be supporting Mark through his grief. And he's in there with my daughter.
She lifted the watch and pressed it against the photo of Richard, the glass fogging from her palm.
He gave me that tracker for a reason. He must have sensed something like this could happen.
A single tear traced down her cheek, but she wiped it away with the back of her hand. The engine turned over, and the sedan rolled quietly out of the lot.
I should call Mark this instant. But how do I tell him his wife and his partner have been in that room for 4 nights?
The highway stretched ahead, gray and endless. She drove on autopilot, the secret coiling in her stomach. She would not call him yet. She needed to know exactly what she was going to say when she looked him in the eyes. At home, she placed the watch on the coffee table beside the printed GPS log. The appraisal receipt with Richard's handwriting lay beside them. The familiar cursive of his final note seemed to glow under the lamp.
I need to be sure this tracker didn't malfunction. Harold will know.
She picked up the phone and dialed Harold's number, her finger hovering over the call button before pressing it.
Barbara, it's late. What's wrong?
Harold, the watch tracker. Is it still reliable? Could it give a wrong location?
Never. I tested it for a month. That chip doesn't fail. Why are you asking?
She told him everything. The missing watch, the tracking app, the motel, the man she'd seen with Rachel.
Richard would want you to act. Don't let doubt stop you from doing what's right.
She thanked him and hung up, staring at the evidence on the table, the weight of his words settling into her chest like a stone she couldn't put down. She dialed Rachel's number and said only, "Come to the house now." When Rachel arrived, her face was pale and guarded, as if she already knew what was coming. Barbara pointed to the coffee table where the watch, GPS printout, and appraisal receipt lay like an indictment.
You put a tracker in Dad's watch? You've been spying on me the whole time?
I followed a stolen heirloom straight to my daughter in a motel with her husband's business partner.
You don't understand. I was drowning. Tom understood me.
You have until tomorrow morning to tell Mark yourself. After that, I will.
You'd actually destroy my marriage? You are not my mother anymore.
She walked out without looking back, leaving the evidence untouched on the table.
She won't ever tell him. I have to protect Mark. I'll call him in the morning.
3 days after the ultimatum, Barbara's phone rang. Mark's name glowed on the screen.
Mom, I am sorry to bother you so late. Rachel won't talk to me. She's been cold for days.
Barbara's grip on the phone tightened. The knowledge she carried twisted like a blade.
Tom keeps telling me to give her space, that she's still grieving Dad, but I don't know anymore.
Tom. That name again, playing the concerned friend while he steals Mark's wife. The lie was unbearable.
I think she might be seeing someone else, Mom. I don't know what to do.
Mark, come over. I need to see you. There's something I can't say over the phone.
What's going on? You are scaring me.
Just come. I'll explain everything when you are here.
She hung up and stared at the watch on the table. The secret had become a countdown to a conversation that would break her son. Mark's headlights swept across the living room window, then cut to black. Barbara opened the door and led him to the sofa, her face unreadable.
You said you needed to tell me something. What's going on?
She gestured at the watch, the GPS log, and the appraisal receipt, all spread on the table like evidence in a trial.
3 weeks after the funeral, Rachel took your father's watch. I tracked it using a GPS chip Richard had installed. The tracker led me to the comfort suites off Route 9. For 4 nights, the watch had been there. I found her in a motel room with a man.
Who was it?
Tom. Your business partner, Tom.
Mark's hands reached for the watch. His fingers closed around it, knuckles white. He stared at the watch. And for a long moment, the only sound was the clock ticking in the hall.
Tom, the man I trusted with my business, with my life.
I saw him myself. He was there with Rachel, in that motel room.
He turned the watch over in his hands, searching for something that might undo the truth. Barbara reached into her purse and placed a business card on the table.
This is a good divorce attorney. I called ahead. He's expecting you.
I trusted him like a brother. I don't even know who she is anymore.
He set the watch gently on the table, his hand lingering for a moment.
This watch belongs with Richard. I can't keep it.
He stood up, the attorney's card now in his hand. The headlights of his car disappeared down the street, leaving Barbara alone with the watch. She carried the watch back to the bedroom, the hem of her blazer brushing the doorframe. With a cloth from the nightstand, she polished the watch until the gold gleamed in the lamplight. She placed the watch back on the dresser, the metal clicking softly against the wood. She lifted the framed photo of Richard from the dresser and held it close.
You kept your promise. The watch came back, and it brought the truth with it.
Her voice broke, and the tears she had held back for weeks finally spilled over.
He gave me a way to follow. Even now, he's still protecting us.
The dresser now held the watch again, and the room seemed to breathe a long-held breath. In her mind, she saw Richard on their wedding day, young and strong, fastening that same watch around his wrist. The watch was home, and something in the silence told her that Richard was, too. The next morning, sunlight poured across the dresser, catching the watch and casting a golden arc on the wall.
She woke to a quiet she hadn't felt since before the funeral. Richard's watch was home again.
Her phone vibrated on the nightstand. Mark's name glowed on the screen.
Mom, I did it. I filed for divorce this morning and confronted Rachel. She denied everything until I showed her the GPS log you gave me. Then she went silent. Thank you for giving me the truth. I don't know how I would have survived without it.
I am glad you know. You deserve someone who respects you. Take your time to heal.
I will, Mom. I'll be okay. I just need some time.
After the call, she sat by the window, the morning sun warm on her shoulders. The watch on the dresser gleamed, and for the first time in weeks, Barbara felt that justice was in motion. Later that afternoon, the phone rang again. Rachel's name glared on the screen.
You destroyed my marriage. Are you happy now?
Barbara's hand tightened on the receiver, but her voice remained steady.
I didn't destroy your marriage, Rachel. You and Tom tore it apart with your lies.
You spied on me. You put a tracker in Dad's watch like I was a criminal.
Barbara closed her eyes for a moment, then spoke the words she had carried for weeks.
You stole your father's memory and betrayed your husband. The watch just brought it to light.
There was only silence on the other end. Rachel's breathing was shallow.
I have nothing left.
The line went dead. Barbara set the phone down gently, the finality of the silence settling around her. Weeks later, on a quiet Saturday morning, Mark's car pulled into Barbara's driveway. She met him at the door, and they settled into their usual spots in the living room, coffee cups steaming on the table.
The divorce is final. It's done, I feel. Lighter than I expected.
I am glad. You deserve to have that weight lifted.
I started therapy. It's helping me understand how I missed the signs. Slowly, I am putting myself back together. I am not ready for anything serious, but someday, maybe I'll try again, with someone who's honest from the start.
Take all the time you need. Healing isn't a race, and you know this door is always open.
They sat in silence for a moment, the ticking of the clock blending with the quiet.
Thank you, Mom, for the watch, and for the truth. I wouldn't have survived without you.
He hugged her at the door, his grip firm and hopeful, before driving away into the clear morning light. Later that afternoon, the cemetery was quiet. Barbara walked the familiar path to Richard's grave, a bouquet of white roses in her hand. She stopped before the headstone, the engraved name still fresh enough to tighten her chest.
I brought you flowers, Richard, and I came to tell you that your watch is safe. That tracker you had Harold install. It worked exactly as you hoped. It led me straight to the truth.
She knelt and placed the roses against the stone, her movements slow and deliberate.
You protected us, even when we didn't know it. Mark knows the truth now. He's going to be okay.
A light breeze stirred the leaves overhead. Barbara closed her eyes and felt the burden she had carried for weeks finally begin to lift.
Thank you for always knowing where your watch was. It brought me back here, to the only man who ever truly saw me.
She touched the stone once more, then turned and walked toward the car, her steps steady in the fading light. The headstone caught the last of the sunset, the white roses bright against the dark granite. 1 year later, the morning sun found the watch exactly where it belonged, on Richard's dresser, untouched and untarnished.
She had turned 69 that spring. The house was quieter now, but not empty.
She often sat in the armchair by the window, a novel in her lap, her eyes drifting to the watch. The photograph of Richard beside the watch seemed to smile at her in the soft light.
The watch was just a timepiece, but it held so much more. His protection, his promise, his love.
Outside, the garden bloomed. Inside, the dresser remained a shrine of quiet remembrance.
She missed him still, but the grief had settled into something gentle, like an old companion.
The empty space that had once screamed betrayal had been filled not just by the watch, but by the truth it carried home.
Every time she looked at the watch, she felt him near. He had never really left her side.
The watch ticked softly, and in its rhythm, Barbara found the peace she had earned. The following spring, Barbara stood in a sunlit garden as Mark slipped a simple ring onto the finger of a gentle woman named Emily.
He looks happy, truly happy. After everything, he found someone honest.
The ceremony was brief, only a handful of close friends, and Rachel was not among them.
Mom, I want you to know, Emily knew everything before I proposed. She's kind, and she respects the past.
Then you've chosen well. I am so glad for you, Mark.
They embraced, and for a moment, the old grief between them turned to something lighter. As the afternoon faded, Barbara slipped away from the celebration and drove home in the golden hour. The house was quiet. She went straight to the bedroom and gazed at the watch on the dresser.
He's happy, Richard. The watch you left us led him out of the dark.
In the stillness, the watch seemed to catch the last ray of sun, as if answering her. In the years that followed, the watch never left the dresser. The morning sun reached it first each day. Its gold face caught the glow of afternoon, then the soft amber of the bedside lamp at evening. From the hallway, through the half-open door, the watch was always visible, a quiet, constant guardian. Barbara would sometimes stand in the doorway and simply look at it. No tears, Just a soft nod. On the anniversary of Richard's passing, a single white lily rested beside the watch and photograph. The house grew stiller, but the watch kept ticking, as if measuring the distance between loss and grace. It remained unmarred, untarnished. The leather strap held the shape of a wrist that was no longer there. Once stolen, now returned, the watch had become something more than an heirloom, a loyal sentinel. In a house where words had wounded, the silent watch held every answer that love had ever whispered. And there it stayed, waiting, watching, protecting until the final frame of light faded from the room. An aged hand, lined with years, came to rest over the watch face on the dresser. The crystal was cool beneath her fingertips, yet it pulsed with a warmth that had never faded.
If anything ever happens, this watch will find its way back. You promised, and you kept it.
Beside the watch, Richard's photograph caught the last of the lamp's amber glow. She sat in the chair beside the dresser, the silence no longer empty, but full of earned grace. Her breathing slowed, and her hand slowly lifted from the watch as if releasing the last burden. The watch remained, a steadfast sentinel, guarding a promise that had outlived betrayal. Outside, the last light of day softened over the quiet house, and inside, only the ticking of the watch broke the stillness. Tick, tick, tick. The sound grew softer, as if the watch itself was laying a hand on Barbara's shoulder. And then the image faded to black, leaving only the echo of a promise that had been kept.